ladies and gentlemen, making this video because a few things have spiked up. The British tree is being made at the moment. The German tree is basically finished. They're just doing a few other ships. And there's a hint that there could be not only a new Japanese battleship split line, but there's a hint, not confirmed or anything like that, far from that, but a hint there could be a United States Navy battlecruiser line, because the Alaska, from what I've just been told, the Alaska is not a dev ship, which means Alaska will be put into the tech tree, which is really interesting, because that would mean that there's a battlecruiser line that is probably in the works, but it'll probably be worked on after they add in the British and the Germans. Honestly, I'm starting to think. I'm really starting to think that the developers look at my videos more than I think. Huh. Because when you think about it, Alaska would be a very nice tier 9. Tier 8 would probably be Congress, or the Constellation, or the Lexington. They would probably name it the Constellation, because why would you name a battlecruiser the Lexington when there's already a Lexington carrier in the game? Congress will probably go tier 7, because she's basically an Alaska with 2 less guns. So she's got 2 dual turrets and 1 triple turret, instead of Alaska having 3 triple turrets. Honestly, when you think about it, Constellation will probably be tier 7. Constellation will get... Well, I don't think Constellation will get torpedoes. But it's just basically a slimmed down, longer and faster version of the Colorado, and a lot less armored. So it'll probably split off from the Colorado to the Constellation to the Congress, and then to the Alaska, and then to the Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico will probably be a bit broken. From what I've seen, the Alaska has a bit of a long reload. You know, even with me using the Washington with the magazine safety overrides, I was able to out-trade an Alaska. I wasn't able to kill him, but you know, I got him down by quite a bit. Alaska also seems to have insane pen. Like, I'm saying, like, ridiculous pen on her 12-inch guns. Because I was circling her, well, she was circling me, and it was at this angle, and she was able to citadel me right through at that angle. Now, normally, at that angle, battleships like, you know, like a South Dakota would bounce off of that angle. But Alaska didn't give a crap. Alaska just punched right through that. Also, her secondaries seem a bit... They seem alright, actually. The main turrets turn very quickly, which is a bit terrifying. And she also seems to have a very nice turning circle, which is interesting. She also seems to have quite a bit of acceleration. The armor on her seems decent, but yeah, still. The other thing I noticed is you can't citadel the Alaska. I don't know why. You can't citadel her. I don't understand it. Like, I was getting chunk damage on her. You know, you could do, like, you know, full pens and whatnot. But I wasn't doing citadel damage. There was only one time I got a citadel pen, and that was when she was turning, you know, circling me, and it will actually raise up. The side of the ship, which is facing me, would raise up and get me a shot at that citadel. But other than that, I couldn't citadel her. which would suggest her hitbox for her citadel is under the water. Which, if that's the case, she's gonna be broken. She's gonna be broken. An underwater citadel sounds busted. She is relatively easy to deal with, but the other thing I noticed, brawling, you're fighting her, you can't pen her nose. You can't sit and you can't even do like consistent damage through her bow. So honestly, let's see what the guards are. So okay, I can't see that. Okay. Honestly, I don't know. She looks interesting. I was able to see also set 38 and set 46. Honestly, I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about these ships. I don't have any information on them. I'm only talking to them from my visuals of what I've seen from them in the game. Um, set 46 and set 38, they don't look good. They don't look that good, which is a bit worrying. Um, Obviously, I didn't really focus on that much. I was focusing more on like the battle and whatnot. Going back to the Washington, I have noticed. I know that her guns are copy and paste, but I have noticed her shell grouping is not a lot, but it's definitely better than the South Dakota. And the reason why I know that is because there was me, another Washington, and a South Dakota. And me and this other Washington were shooting a Colorado and I think it was another Washington. I think I'm not entirely sure. And then in the South Dakota, and the South Dakota looked a lot more inaccurate. A lot more inaccurate. Like the shells didn't group as well as the Washington. Um, Washington has less health, obviously, less armor. You can definitely feel the less armor. She's got 140 millimeter deck. If I look at South Dakota, 152. She's basically a less tanky but quicker South Dakota. She also turns slower. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that her rudder shift time is worse and she turns slower. I mean, of course, it's because she's quicker. The one thing I would really like is if it actually told you the engine power and everything like that. I would really like that. The secondaries, of course, have their ridiculously broken fire chance. I've been told by someone who said that, they have a little bit of information that it could be within the 40 to 60% range to set a fire. I don't believe that, but if that's the case, and by the looks of it, from using this thing, it looks like it could be around that. What's it say? Okay, so I just want to give that a little bit of read. But yeah, she feels. And bear in mind, I run supercharge. I sometimes run secondaries, um, and I run magazine safety override, improved rangefinder, which does impact your dispersion, and improved first gear, improved rear core dampeners, and then I do improved fuses, crammed engine, additional damage control stations. I do this for my basically AKA Battlecruiser build, because it basically turns Washington into a Battlecruiser. Doing 32 knots is amazing. Um, Honestly, don't run armored rudder. It will not save you. It won't save you at all. So, and then for my dreadnought build, I take off the ground engines, and then put on the additional armor plating and the rugged engine room. And what this does is it basically makes Washington a fucking brawler. Not as much, nowhere near as much as South Dakota, but she's definitely very good at brawling. Her secondaries are amazing. I did brawl with a Bismarck, and I'll tell you something, the Bismarck looks completely flipping busted. Completely busted. I did ask him if he was running secondary mod, but he said it was a secret, so I don't know if he was running secondary mod. But from the range that his secondaries came online, at about 7.9 kilometers. That would tell me that he was not running secondary mod, which is terrifying because the rate of fire on those were fucking quick. They were as quick as me running the secondary mod A, which is scary. That's really, really scary because the reload of my secondaries right now are 5 seconds, but you put those on 2.5 seconds. So if the Bismarck has a stock reload of about 2.5 to 3 seconds on her secondaries, you could knock that down to about 1.25 to 1.5 second reload, which is fucking terrifying when you think about it. That is terrifying. But if she was using the secondary mod, then that would give her a base range of, if I just do calculations real quick, because her secondaries came on at 7.9, I say 7.8 times that by 2, that would give her a secondary range of 15.6 kilometers if she was running the secondary mod, which I find hard to believe. If she has that range with her secondaries, that's gonna be fucking terrifying. I have also been told that because Japan has no premiums yet, which is disappointing, that because everybody was, I asked everybody, what would be a good premium for Japan, and everybody was coming up with, Hyuga or Tone or Ise. Ise is actually the confirmed tier 6 of the new line, so sorry guys, but she's not going to be a premium. She's actually going to be in the tech tree, without her flight deck, of course. So you could add in an Ise premium with the flight deck. I mean, she would lose 2 turrets, but then gain aircraft. It's kind of not worth it. I mean, it really isn't worth it. Hybrid battleship, do you really want that? The Amagi is confirmed as well, but I don't know if she's going to be tier 7 or 8. The Yamato is obviously confirmed. I don't know what the tier 7 is going to be, or the tier 9. But what we do know is the Amagi is most likely going to be tier 8. So we know it's Ise, Amagi, and Yamato. We know it's those 3, but tier 7 and 9, that's a bit questionable. Some people are suggesting tier 9 is probably going to be a version of the Hidaka, but without, not having the 457s, she will have 460s, because there was a version of that ship with Yamato's guns, but they were in dual turrets instead of the triple, so she had 4 dual turrets, so 8 guns, 8 460mm guns. So she would have the same secondaries, or probably similar secondaries as the Hidaka, but bigger guns. Yamato, because a few people have been worried about the Yamato, about being a secondary brawler. I don't think they're going to make Yamato a secondary brawler. I think they're probably going to make her secondary range less than the Musashi to make the Musashi more useful when the Yamato comes out, because we all know when the Yamato comes out, it's going to make Musashi basically obsolete, because the Musashi is already suffering in areas. You know, her AA sucks ass. Her secondaries are decent but not that good. She gets penned at funky angles. Her health has been nerfed. Her main guns were nerfed a bit, I believe. There's just a lot of problems with Musashi at the moment, and it's really hitting her. I would say move Musashi down to tier 9 and then put Yamato as the tier 10. Of course, you would need to replace Musashi, and I would recommend making the current line as a sort of fast battleship line, like a fast battleship / battlecruiser line, because technically Toza and Hidaka, they are technically battlecruisers. Technically, Nagato is a super dreadnought, and Fuso is a dreadnought, not a super dreadnought, but a dreadnought. I did also suggest HMS Congo, putting Congo as a tier 5 premium, but then people said, well, why don't you just put Tiger? And the reason why I don't think Tiger should go as a tier 5 premium is because I believe Tiger will be a tier 5 tech tree ship. That's what I believe. Tiger has 8 343mm guns, while HMS Congo, basically IJ and Congo was made at the fix yard. I think it's the fix yard in the UK. She was built in the UK, and then she was sold to Japan. The Congo class was sold to Japan. Well, I say the Congo class, it technically was sold to Japan, because there was meant to be 3 or 4 other sisters, and then they became the Hiri and the Kishima and whatnot. But those other ships were actually made in Japan. So that's why when you look at not HMS Congo, IJN Congo, that's why it says the main guns are Fickers. I keep on calling them Fix. I don't know why, but Fickers manufacturers, and then the other ships have IJN manufacturers. But I would really like to see a premium HMS Congo, or maybe put HMS Congo as the tier 5 or 6 premium. That would be pretty nice, because technically, she was a battlecruiser before the Japanese got hold of her, and then they made her into a fast battleship and completely ruined her. So yeah. What else to talk about? The problem is all these videos keep on turning into news videos. Is there any other ship I saw? I didn't see any other ships, but Bismarck looks completely busted. It looks completely busted. Bismarck is another ship which I'm worried about, because she has 0 weak spots at the front. You literally cannot pen her at the front. It will just ricochet off. You will not be able to get bowing citadels with her. Trust me, I've tried with Washington. It is impossible. Her main guns seem to have improved ricochet angles or something. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe improved pen. Because she was able to slice right through my angled bow. Because if you sit like this, then your bow's going to be penned. But if you sit about like this, then people will struggle to pen your bow. Of course, if you've got enough pen, then you can punch right through. Washington also has her A turret fixed, which is nice. One of the that's another thing I want to talk about, is one of the heavy cruisers for the British, which is confirmed, is the HMS Exeter. She's a heavy cruiser with 8 203mm guns. Hopefully they don't over tier her, because then that'll be a problem. But hey, Also, I'm thinking of probably signing up to be a tester, a ship tester, or something like that. They'll probably go through a whole list of things and whatnot, which I'm fine. But what I do know is if I become a tester, I will not be allowed to talk about anything about the ships. Nothing about the ships. Because if I do, I'll be kicked from the program. So it's basically like a CC program in a way, like a community contributor program. It technically is really. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy this video, give a thumbs down. Put in the comment section, do you believe that USS Alaska could be hinting at a new USN line? And also, put in the comment section, what do you think the tier 9 and tier 7 are going to be for the new Japanese battleship split line? That will be really interesting. I would love to hear. Anyway, guys, I'm going to see you later. Peace!